and welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to share with you guys our recent trip to China and the Philippines. We ended up having to go to China for Jacob's work, aka CrossFit, and our trip to China was amazing. The culture is so completely different than what we're used to here in the States, and I think that's really good because for us, when it comes to traveling, getting to see and experience new cultures apart from what we're used to here in America is kind of exciting. And China is very, very different, let me tell you. One of the big highlights for us was seeing the Great Wall of China, obviously, and we were actually staying in Chengdu for probably close to like 4 or 5 days for the competition, and then we went to Beijing, which is actually where you would fly into if you want to see the Great Wall of China. There are still other cities that we really didn't even have time to get to, like Shanghai, Hong Kong. Those would be probably my second two choices if I were just going to make a long China trip. But if just talking specifically about Beijing, obviously the Great Wall is a really big destination. We also saw a couple other cool things while we were there, like the Lama temple. And also there was a really cool restaurant we ate at called Bei Jia Da Yuan, which is actually a palace that an old imperial palace that they kind of transitioned or transformed into a restaurant where no one speaks any English and they all wear like the traditional Chinese attire. I don't even know what you call it, the royal attire, and just a really neat experience with dinner. And actually the food was pretty good compared to a lot of the other food that we had while we were in China. So specifically though, talking about the Great Wall, so I had so much planning that I did going into this because common misconception, the Great Wall of China is gigantic. It's really, really large. And there are so many different parts that you can go to. And if you fly into Beijing, it's going to be about an hour and a half, could be a 3-hour drive depending on which part of the Great Wall that you want to see. And you guys, I did so much research about this, and truthfully there really wasn't a lot of great research out there that had pictures to go with it, so I was kind of just going on a hope and a prayer that we were picking the right place. There's 9 different like main sections of the Great Wall. Some of them are restored, some of them aren't, but the one that we ended up picking, it was actually called Mutianyu. This is actually one of the closer sections to Beijing, which is really good because if you're driving, it's not super far. It actually only took us an hour and a half to get there. And when we got there, we actually, and again, kind of a little side note, we rented a car to get there from our hotel. So there were a lot of different options to get to the Great Wall from Beijing. You can actually take a bus for super cheap. You could probably take a taxi. We ended up getting a private car that was just super easy and convenient from our hotel, and he drove us there, waited on us while we saw it, and then drove us back, which actually ended up being really, really nice and convenient, and he helped us buy our tickets when we got there as well. So anyway, we saw Mutianyu. The other two parts of the wall that I was contemplating between were Jingshengling and then Jingqiu. And so those are two other parts that are pretty close to Beijing. But honestly, with our choice with Mutianyu, I'm totally probably butchering this pronunciation of this, but with the choice that we made, I actually have no regrets. I feel like we really saw everything and had a really good picturesque view. So I feel pretty confident in how we picked it. And so basically when we got there, we ended up buying these tickets, which I kind of had read this about Mutianyu, that there was a toboggan that you could take, and there was also like an aerial car and an aerial tram that you could take up to the top as well. So that's actually what we did. We ended up kind of by mistake, but it ended up being a good thing anyway. We took the aerial cart all the way up to the top of it from kind of the base at the bottom, and then walked around, got to see the different parts. Definitely walked towards the higher part. So like, I think the little pillars, they're numbered, and we went the higher route. So it was like number 25. I think it went from like 10 to 25 as far as pillars go during Mutianyu. And I would definitely suggest going to pillar 25 because that's the higher view. It's a little bit more picturesque and you can really see the great kind of mountainous landscape. So we went that way, kind of hiked back, probably not even a mile, or we probably only walked about a mile of it, maybe a mile or two. And then we did the toboggan down, and then that had like a little cart that we took, like an aerial cart, or almost looked like a ski lift that we took all the way down. So that was what we picked for the Great Wall. I was pretty pleasantly surprised and happy with the decision. I was just really like contemplating which section to go to, and I had originally thought that maybe we could just have our car drive us like horizontally section to section, but in order to go you can't do it. You can't go by car. You actually have to drive all the way back to Beijing and then go a different route. So you really have to like put all your eggs in one basket with the section that you're picking. It's not possible to take a car horizontally across the different sections. And another option that I've read that people can do, we didn't, but you can actually do helicopter tours above the Great Wall, and I think see pretty much all of it. So that might be another really cool option. We had a drone, so we kind of got to see the bird's eye view that way, but helicopter tour, if you have the funds and can do it, might be a really fun option too. So I definitely suggest Beijing. We really loved our time there. It's a really booming city. China in general is just a really neat place to see once in your life. I think the Great Wall of China, I mean, there's a reason it's one of the 7 wonders of the world. It is absolutely breathtaking and beautiful. I would highly recommend it.
Here we are.
The trek has begun.
Yeah, walking up a hill. What are we doing?
We're going up. Woo!
I'm sweating right now.
Keep on going, little pack mule. Holy cow. But worth it.
It's pretty impressive. Yeah, it's probably the coolest thing I've ever seen that man has made, for sure.